think there's a number of international concerns pressing the U.S. today. When you look at really the big three, China being number one, China has clearly shown they're no longer a competitor or an adversary. They're on the cusp of becoming an enemy. When you look at what they are doing to businesses in shortchanging us on supplies, when they look at what they're doing in the cyber world with their constant attacks, when you look at the intellectual property theft that is occurring, they still remain the number one threat to the United States of America. Closely followed by Iran on the cusp of a nuclear weapon. And while everyone likes to talk about this term, the forever war, the reality is we don't have forever wars. What we have are bad policy decisions that don't clearly define why we are engaging with actions against the country, what is the defined end state that we can stop that, and what do we plan on doing for the future. When you look at the Middle East, it's very clear. Iran cannot be allowed to gain a nuclear weapon. And whatever it takes to make sure that happens, the United States remains fully committed with our allies in the region to ensure that that never happens. And then Russia waging the largest war on the European continent since World War II. All three of those combined and the collusion that those countries are doing together are what are providing for a world that is not destabilized, but is certainly unpredictable in many ways today. One of the key challenges the United States faces today is reacting to threats in a timely manner. A lot of people want to say we should respond in a proportional manner. No, we should respond in a manner that ensures that deterrence is placed back at the forefront and in fact enhanced. Why not put sanctions in place across the board and make them harsh to bring their economy to a screeching halt? Go pre-JCPOA, in other words, go to all the sanctions in place before the Iran nuclear agreement was even negotiated. That's the step number one. Then what you can begin to do is actually target those forces that are in the region that are providing targeting data that are allowing the Houthis to shoot to begin with. You provide targeting data, we eliminate that source. We cannot afford, like we did prior to the attack on USS Cole, where we tolerated terrorist attacks that killed Americans with little to no response for decades. Now, if you come after Americans and you injure them or you harm our national security interests around the world, we're going to come after you and ensure that that price that you will pay will be so large and heavy that we are going to ensure that deterrence is back in place and stays there. As we come up on the 25th anniversary of the attack on USS Cole, October 12, 2000, the number one thing leaders need to think about today is the what ifs. You have to anticipate the unknowable, the unthinkable, and take the time and invest not only in your people, but in yourself to be properly prepared, trained, and ready for when those moments come. When that blast went off, the lens that I was viewing the world through had slammed wide open, and I'm taking in huge amounts of information. The first strategy I did was, believe it or not, look inward to myself and say, you must remain perfectly calm no matter what information gets brought to you. At that point, you look outward and you begin to ask what I call the what next question. What do I need to think about next? What do I need to plan for next? And what do I need to do next? What could happen in my business? What could happen in my industry? Where do we consider to be the shortfalls, whether it's in supply chain, personnel training, actually the infrastructure? What supports your business and allows it to work? What would happen if something were to happen along any one of those? And then how would you react to it? Have you thought through those what if scenarios? Because as leaders, you're paid to sit back once in a while and think the big picture. Ask those what if questions and plan for what could happen and how you're going to react to it should it actually occur.